Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. We've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, good morning. Good morning.
About to be 2-1.
I would like to congratulate your Los Angeles Lakers on winning their first round playoff series over the now setting Suns. The Suns now have CP0 chance of beating the Lakers.
Why you do that, Skip?
Well, he's
why you count the chickens before they hatch?
They're hatched.
No, they're not.
They already hatched. It's 1-1 and it's over.
The setting Suns. That's good, Skip.
Yeah,
you
like
said
that?
before?
I'm clever.
Okay, clever.
Creative. Okay, we're going to get to that. Unfortunately, we have to begin with the fans. And I never like when they take away from the game. But here's the latest, guys. Russell Westbrook left last night's game to loss against the 76ers after injuring his ankle. But while heading to the locker room, a fan dumped popcorn at Westbrook. And he had to be held back by multiple members of security to not confront the fan. The fan was ejected shortly after. Westbrook shared his growing frustration of fan behavior after the game. So take a listen.
To be blatantly honest, man, just getting out of hand, especially for me. Just the amount of disrespect, the amount of just fans just doing whatever they want to do. It's out of pocket, man. But there's certain things that cross the line. And any other setting, I know for a fact that fans and they wouldn't come up, a guy wouldn't come on the street and pour popcorn on my head because he know what happened. A guy wouldn't come up to me and talk mess about my kids or family on the street because the response would be different. In these arenas, you got to start protecting the players, man. We'll see what the NBA does.
Okay, so we heard from Russ, but meanwhile, in New York last night, a video was tweeted out highlighting a fan also potentially spitting on Trae Young as he was inbounding the ball. Trae laughed it off in a tweet, calling it crazy, but coupled with the Westbrook incident, it certainly it's raising a lot of eyebrows right now, guys. And I'm curious your thoughts here. Shannon, how can the NBA fix this?
Well, Skip, I think the immediate thing that you do is that once you find the perpetrator that does this, they're banned immediately. There are no second chances. You don't 1-year suspension or 5-year. You're banned from that arena. No matter what's in that, be it a ball game, a concert, a comedy concert, or whatever the case may be, Skip, you're banned from those premises. And Russell Westbrook is absolutely correct. Skip, the level of disrespect that fans are starting to show towards the players is unacceptable. Skip, you just getting fans back, and this is what you do. It's been a couple of months that you've been allowed to come back into the arena. And the way how happy you're excited to be back in the arena, you dump popcorn on the guy. And it looked to me, now I could be wrong, maybe they threw ice, but it looked like someone spit in Trae Young's direction. Skip, I got to have you. Russ is absolutely right. If I'm at a movie theater, you think if I'm sitting there watching a movie, somebody's going to come dump popcorn over my head? Do you think if I'm walking down the street, someone's going to come spit at me? Skip, I've always prided myself, and my grandfather used to always tell my brother and I, boy, every man, and he meant men and women, but deserves a certain level of respect. Yes, no, excuse me, I'm sorry, my bad. Yes, sir, no, sir. I'm going to give you that, Skip. And I'm not saying you ever have to respect me, but I won't allow you to disrespect me. Because once you disrespect me, okay, it is what it is. Now we do what we got to do. Why would you do, Skip, why would you do this? Why would you dump popcorn on the man? So you know what I did it? So he can go tell his friend, man, I dumped popcorn on Russell Westbrook's head. I don't. But you see how many security guards? He knows. Skip, is kind of like when you're at the zoo and they say don't tap the glass. And what do people do, Skip? Because they know that 5-inch thick glass is protecting them from that silverback or that lion. Why would you? Why? You don't pay enough money. I don't care if you pay $10 million for a front row seat. I don't care if you paid $100,000 to get into the ball game. It doesn't give you the right to be disrespectful. And stop this. No person, you don't make enough money, Skip, to be disrespected. Oh, you making millions of dollars. What? You out your mind. Because Russ makes whatever he makes, he should have popcorn dumped on him. We should be talking about how good the Sixers looked in this game, Skip. Man, they look like a powerhouse. Joel Embiid looked good. Ben Simmons looked good. Tobias Harris. They were playing unbelievable. But the story is not about the game. It's about some dumb jack-leg fan trying to be cute, want to tell his boys he dumped popcorn on Russ. They should have let Russ go up in the stands. Because you see what happens? We just had, what was this, like a little over a decade ago in Madison Palace? We had a situation. You see what happened? Somebody dumped some pop through soda.
It was actually almost 17 years ago.
Okay, almost 2 decades ago. Show you how time flies. And see what happened? Then, my bad. So one day, Skip, they're going to meet the right person on the wrong day. And I'm sorry, and my bad ain't going to help that you-know-what.
Yep.
But this is ridiculous, Skip, and Russ is absolutely right. The NBA is going to have to get strong on this. The fans, come on, enjoy the game, cheer. I get it. But for a game, you're willing to risk. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the man is already injured. He's already upset because, like, bam, injured my ankle. So he's already frustrated. And now you dump popcorn as he's walking up the tunnel. Somebody, Trae Young, is trying to look like he's about to inbound the ball. And somebody, Skip, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose everything. Because if you spit, that's the worst thing you can do.
The ultimate act of disrespect, man to man, is spitting man on man.
Don't spit in my direction.
Yep.
Don't do it. Because it's not worth it, because I don't even know why somebody would even attempt to do that, because now what you told me, my grandfather used to say, boy, you spit on the ground. So you telling me I'm less than the ground if you spit on me. Man, Russ, these players are a lot better than I am. And I think the thing is, for the football, we don't get that close, because the NBA, Skip, they right up to it. I mean, sometimes they got to back the people up in the front row so they can take the ball out and things like that. But Russ is absolutely right. They're getting out of pocket with this because there are no repercussions. They know they got security. They know that the players are going to be fined heavily. But they need to let one of these players whip one of these fans' ass, and that'll shut all this down.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we had 2 egregious, completely over the line, over the edge incidents happen last night in NBA playoff games. And I'm going to take them one at a time. I'll start in Philadelphia. And I'll start with Russell Westbrook. And I felt for him last night. He was having a long, hard night to start with. If you look at his numbers, he just had, look, as a team, they were 2 of 22 from 3. He was 0 of 3 from 3. His running mate, who can just shoot the lights out, was 1 of 6. I'm talking about Bradley Beal. And Russ's numbers were 10 points, 11 assists, and 6 rebounds.
So you said he was already having a bad night.
He was having the worst night because he had turned his ankle twice.
Right.
And the second time he turned it so bad, he needed to exit.
Right.
He exited. They're down 17. It's 98-81.
Right.
So he's pretty humiliated. He does not take losing well at all. He takes it worse than maybe anybody who plays, because he plays with such rage.
Right.
So he's on hair trigger already as he's walking up the tunnel. And this man, and you can see in the video who it is. It's the man in the red baseball cap with the black sweater draped over his shoulders. And he dumps an entire, what do you call it, a bucket or bag or whatever it is, a popcorn bag. Let's call it a bag of popcorn. He dumped the whole thing on Russ. And it took 4 men to restrain him, because I thought he was going to break loose from the floor.
I did too. I thought, damn, Russ stronger than...
He is bullish strong. He's got some shoulders on him.
But Skip, when you get that rage in you like that...
I got it. If he had gotten up and gotten a hold of that man, God knows what would have happened. We would have had Malice in the Palace #2.
Yep.
And as Russ said right after the game, if that man had done that to me in the street, it would have been very different, because and I know what would have happened in the street.
Yes.
And I guess you could say that dumping popcorn on a man's head in the street would be assault.
It is.
Right?
Absolutely.
Can't we define it as assault?
Absolutely.
Well, that would mean that Russ would be within his right to respond in kind.
Yep.
And you could respond in kind. He even went so far as to say, if you want to talk mess about my family, about my wife or my kids to my face in the street, it would be very different. But he said it happens all the time during a basketball game. And Russ has had various incidents. He has been a target, maybe the biggest target in the league, of fan abuse, verbal abuse.
Because I think, Skip, they know how he's wired.
Yes.
You remember in the bubble, Rondo's brother brother said something to him, and he had his brother removed. We saw the incident in Utah.
He did, and that fan got banned for life.
Right, and I think...
And there was another incident 4 years ago in Philly when a fan just flat out shot the finger at him.
Yeah.
And that fan got ejected.
Right.
I don't think he got banned.
Right.
So initially, ESPN tweeted that the fan was escorted out, that he was removed. Russell was told right after the game that no, he said, and I was watching his press conference live, and he said no. He ran and he escaped. So I don't know, but LeBron tweeted about, we got video cameras everywhere, so we should know who this man is.
Exactly.
And we should identify him, and we should, within the confines of the NBA rules, prosecute him by banning him. He should not be allowed in the doors. Although some were saying, in fact, we're going to have our man Metta is going to join us here in it'd be the 11 Eastern hour of this show. We're obviously in the Pacific time now. But he's going to join us to talk about how he reacted, and I read a story with him this morning, and one of the things he said was, I want that guy back. You know, I want him to come back because I want him prosecuted within the letter of the NBA law. Right. You know, I need to read him the Riot Act. Right. So I don't want him to escape into the night, never to be seen again. Right. So I felt for Russ, and yet, how does the NBA fix this? Okay, so the first thing that could happen is, on each of the tunnels through which the players walk up and back, you just
close
need
it off.
No, you just need to have a security guard positioned at the top, upstairs on top of the tunnel. And the problem is, sight lines are important when you're selling tickets. You don't want a security guard in the way of a fan seat that you can charge a lot of money for.
You know, a lot of times the players walk up the tunnels, people hand things down to them, they sign it, they throw them their sweatbands, they throw them a towel.
It's very cool interaction.
Yes. Usually they touch hands, they're like, hey, good. I mean, they don't do it as much now, obviously, Skip, because of COVID. But, you know, pre-COVID, you walking up the tunnel and, you know, the players are slapping hands, and that was a cool thing. But one person...
It's a great part of the game experience for an NBA fan. You can literally reach out and touch.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And yet you could reach out and dump or throw, or you can do whatever you want from those, but you're going to have a security guard, like, quote unquote, 24 hours. You're going to have them up there because Russ left with, I think there was 10 minutes left in the game. Right. So it wasn't at the end of the game, as we're talking about usually. It was fairly early in the fourth quarter. You need a guard up there to watch that they're protected as they walk up the tunnel.
Have a guard up there to watch grown people. To make sure they don't do childish ass
I got it. I also sense a new outpouring. We have all been trapped in our homes for God knows how long, over a year, right? Right. We've been quarantined, and I'm feeling this sort of joyful freedom that everybody, as they go back to the arenas, and if you saw the end of the PGA tournament the other day, on 18, it was just a mob scene because the security got overwhelmed. Right. And everybody is so happy. That's obviously outside. I saw very few masks, but everybody was free. Right. And they were going crazy, and they probably had some beer, you know, a little too much beer over it's a long, hot day out there at Kiowa. And all of a sudden, they're just storming the Palace on 18, man. They're everywhere. And Phil Mickelson and his caddy and Brooks Koepka and his caddy got trapped in the mob scene. And especially Koepka, who just had his knee scoped. He's getting hit, and he said he got banged in the knee a couple of times. So this is, but it's like a joyful overreaction of people who are so happy to be free again.
Skip, and in that situation, Skip, they're not trying to disrespect these guys. They're just so happy. Yes. He was not happy that Russell was walking again. He did that out of disrespect. So in the golf situation, that's totally different. Now, I get it, you know, and I think a lot of that had to do with Phil, because Phil is still a fan favorite, and he was going to win. And so this is my opportunity to get close and touching.
And Koepka was the wrestling villain all day. Trust me on that. So,
exactly.
Okay, so they were pro Phil, and it looked like Phil had it wrapped up because he just hit his second shot right in the middle of the green on 18, so it's virtually over. Right. Okay, he's going to have 3 putts to win the championship. Correct. Okay, so they were ecstatic. They were losing their minds. This is different, but the two greatest viewing experiences in sports are in a golf tournament where you can reach out and touch. You have great access. You can be anywhere. You can get right up to the shot making, you know, especially when they hit it in the rough. You can just get right up. You're within, you could reach out and grab his club as he's
even the tee box, Skip, the guys are, the people are right there.
Same for an NBA game, because especially if you pay for courtside. And I have sat at courtside for years and years at the press table, you can smell the smells. Not only the popcorn, you can about smell the sweat.
Yes.
And for a fan in the front row or the second row, you can see everything.
Yes.
You can hear the trash talk. Obviously, they're wearing tank tops and shorts, so it's right there. You feel like you're in the middle of the action. Which brings us to the Knicks. It's been years since they've even been in the playoffs. And again, New York is starting to feel free again, and it was the original target of COVID. COVID hit the hardest in New York first, it felt like, right?
It did.
And all of a sudden, everybody's out, they're walking Madison Avenue again, and they're going to the Garden. And it was fairly packed last night. A lot of people did have on masks. Spike Lee had on a mask. But they were just blissful that their Knicks have a chance. They look like they got a real chance of beating the Hawks. It's probably going to go 7 games.
Yes.
And they're actually in the arena again, and it feels great. But now we get a guy who had on a Knicks shirt, and it looks like he's in the second row.
Right.
And all of a sudden, as little Trae Young is inbounding the basketball, he winds up and spits over the shoulder of a woman who flinches in the front row. She flinches.
Saw that too,
you can see it, yeah. And I don't think Trae knew what happened because it's just spit from behind and it landed. I assume it hit him in the back of the shoulder or on the back of the arm. Okay?
Jesus.
Ultimate act of disrespect. You're amped up, you're fueled up, and you lose your mind and go completely over the edge. Well, this is the one that I don't know how to fix. You're either going to sell courtside or you're not. You're going to put up plexiglass?
Right.
I mean, are we heading there? We had foul ball plexiglass that had to be put up for baseball protection.
The netting.
Right?
Skip, no, I just think the thing is, man, for me, I don't get that, Skip. I just don't get it. And I understand, Skip, fan short for fanatic. And a lot of these people have been fans for their particular team since they were infants. Their parents were fans and their grandfather. And I get all that, Skip. But when did it become okay to be disrespectful? Because the thing is that you try to always remember that's somebody's son or that's someone's daughter. So if someone would have spit on your son or your daughter, how would you feel? If someone would have dumped popcorn on your son or your daughter, how would you feel? But, man, if Trae, that had been me and I knew it, it took Congress, the Congress and 10,000 soldiers to keep me off his ass.
Okay.
Because the spit on, Skip, do you understand the level of disrespect that you have to have for someone just to do that? I mean, the level of disrespect, so you just lost all respect. I got nothing for you, bro. Nothing. I disrespect you. I hate you that much. And like Russ said, it's getting more and more because what are the ramifications, Skip?
Yep.
The punishment needs to be so severe that you deter future reference. That's originally what punishment was instituted for.
Yep.
Punishment was not instituted for the perpetrator, but also to deter others from doing said acts.
Yep. I'm pretty sure the video will identify that fan in the second row, and I'm guessing they will know who possessed those tickets and that they can ban that fan because that's complete banishment.
Or maybe they brought them. Maybe they brought somebody, but they belong to somebody. And you know what I'm saying, Skip? Well, guess what? You're responsible for it, Skip. You do. That's how it works. If those are my tickets, and if I let my cousin or my family member get those 2 tickets and they act a fool, I'm responsible for those seats.
Hey, I think you're with me. That was even worse than the popcorn.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's Skip, in football, you get X amount of tickets. And my ticket was always in the same section. I always told them, hey, that's Shannon. Everybody know who sits in those seats. Those have been by my seats since 1990. So you're responsible. Tell my mom, hey, Mom, that's somebody's son down there playing on the field. Watch how you talk.
Okay. In football, you're talking to people around you.
Right.
At least you're restrained. You can't go over the wall.
Oh, no.
You can't reach out and touch.
But it's almost like, Skip, you know what it is? They almost know I can't whip a football player. I would never be that disrespectful to a football player. So let me try a basketball player because, they're slender built. Now, if we had an incident, I hate to mention it, bring it up, but you remember in Denver, that Monday night, that snowball in the Raiders.
I thought you were going to do Bill Romanowski.
No. Okay. Where Lincoln Kennedy was always trying to get up in the stands.
Yep.
But for the most part, like you said, they're so far away, and they already know, 6'6", 300 pounds. Nah, I can't beat him. I'm gonna better leave him alone.
Right. I mentioned Romanowski because there was it was a launching point for a Super Bowl for your team.
Yes.
But your teammate Bill Romanowski during a Monday Night Football game spat on J.J. Stokes, who was playing for 49ers. So it's Denver 49ers Monday Night Football, and I can't remember if you won or lost.
We lost.
You lost.
Yeah,
and then you had some team meetings.
Yeah, we had a come together meeting, and it was the turning point of our season. It could have went the other way, but luckily enough, we had enough strong-minded veteran leadership that we righted the ship, and we.
And he apologized so profusely, you guys finally bought it.
We did.
Yes.
We did. But he and I, even after the meeting, he and I had a sit-down conversation. And I just explained to him, Romo, you have to understand the looks of that, you being white, J.J. Stokes being black, just the appearance. Forget the level of disrespect, regardless, black to black, white to white. But when it's on the other side, because we've seen that throughout the history. So you just have to understand. I'm saying a lot of things, appearance has a lot to do with a lot of things, Romo.
Here's the other thing that is just incomprehensible to me. Trae Young is a sweetheart. He's a nice kid, and he's about 5'11", and I don't understand how he became the ultimate villain at MSG, Madison Square Garden.
I told you, anybody that's good for the opposing team
I know.
is the villain.
He's been really good. He was good last night until they finally started to play what they can really play, which is defense.
Right.
And then they just shut down the Hawks in the second half. And I'm not sure the time of the spitting incident, but I'm sure it was during the comeback for the Knicks, because the Knicks looked down and out for a while.
They did.
And now it's 1-1 going to Atlanta.
Yeah, but Russ is absolutely right.
Yeah.
Russ is like the NBA. But Skip, like I said, I don't really know what else the NBA can do except when they find out who the perpetrator is, ban them from the arena, whoever is responsible for the arena. So MSG, obviously that would be James Dolan. You can no longer come into this building. It doesn't matter what the event is being held in the building.
I agree.
You cannot attend.
Right.
And so we're done with that.
They need to get to the bottom of this. They need to do their homework. They need to find out who that fan was. And if they haven't captured the one in Philadelphia, they need to ban him.
And the Sixers publicly apologized to Russ. New York Knicks apologized to Trae Young because what your fans did is unacceptable. And
yesterday we didn't have the mayor of New York taking shots at
Trae Young.
What?
I know.
What are you talking about?
Skip, Mike used to give us, when we were up in training camp, we're in Greeley. Mike used to give us occasional night off. Alex Gibbs, who was our offensive line coach, he says, don't you be the one to mess it up for everybody else.
That's it.
And that's one fan.
Yeah.
And then make it look bad for all the other fans that had a great time and didn't do anything like this.
Right.
One joker.
Yeah. Agree. Almost a PSA. Come on, fans. Be better than this. Be better than this, because we just got you back in the building and we've missed you and it's important. But I hate to have stories like this overshadow what we've been watching, which has been great basketball and great playoff games. No mercy. Well, we know this by now. The Lakers came away with a Game-2 win in Phoenix, and Magic Johnson heaped praise on LeBron for his contributions. The Hall of Fame guard tweeted this: the scoring and leadership of LeBron James, the best player in all of basketball, played a crucial role in the Lakers' victory. Now, Shannon, I have a feeling you're smiling over there. Is Magic overstating LeBron's value?
No. Because I don't believe there's anybody that's currently playing in sports that impacts winning and losing more than LeBron James. And if you look at what he's done over the last 10, Skip, he's been to the finals 10 times. Okay, he's gone to the finals every season, 9 seasons, every season that he's been healthy. With the exception of his first year in LA, he had gone to the finals. Everywhere he goes, instant championship. If you remember, Skip, when he joined the Heat hadn't won a playoff series since they won the title in 2006. He leaves, they go to, before I go to that. He leaves the Cavaliers. Not only after he leaves the Cavaliers, they get the #1 overall draft pick in Kyrie Irving. They get the #1 overall draft pick in Andrew Wiggins, the #1 overall draft pick in Anthony Bennett. That's what happened when he left Cleveland. They were in shambles, the second worst record in the NBA when LeBron left. He goes to Miami, who hadn't won a playoff series since they won the championship in 2006. What do? 4 straight finals, 2 championships. He goes back to the Cavaliers. If you remember, Skip, I think Miami was in the lottery, but we didn't talk about that a little late. Goes back to the Cavaliers, 4 straight finals. Wins the finals. He goes, what did he do when they leave? The Cavaliers, look at him now. In the lottery every year. He goes to the Lakers. playing well, gets injured, nothing happens. Next year, championship. So I agree with Magic. Skip, is he as overpowering game in and game out, possession in, possession out as he once was? No. He can still dominate you. Don't get it twisted. His IQ is off the charts. If you watch the game the other night, Skip, he pick and choose. He's like, you know what? 80 them doing well. Drum them doing well. Oh, now y'all really need me to insert myself. Okay, insert here, boom, ball game's over. So I agree with Magic Johnson. No one impacts winning and losing. And this is 18th year for LeBron James. He's had 3 all NBA teammates. Anthony Davis is his only one, first team all NBA. D-Wade made 1 third team, 2 second teams. Kyrie made a third team. I think his first or second year there with LeBron. In reference, Tom Brady has had 17 first team all-pro teammates. 5 of them been on offense. Gronk, Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Logan Mankins, and Matt Light. 12 on defense. I thought in defense is how you win championships. So nobody impacts winning and losing currently playing in sports like the 6'9" kid from Akron, Ohio. I defy anybody to find me one that can do it.
Is it my turn?
It's your turn.
I'm just glad we have a roof over our heads, or God would have struck you with lightning for what you just said, because it was pure blasphemy. It was heresy. It was so out of bounds that I'm embarrassed that we're doing this topic in the direction you took it. You just said that LeBron James is more valuable to his team than Tom Brady is to his team.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, that's what I said. What part about that did you hear?
Okay, I'm going to start from the start with Magic. I love Magic Johnson. I rank him the second greatest basketball player ever to Michael Jeffrey Jordan. But obviously, his GM reign ended badly with the Lakers, and ever since, he has been trying to preach back to the Laker Nation choir because he loves to be loved and he wants to re-ingratiate himself as the #1 Laker ambassador. And the quickest way to do that is to tweet greatness about LeBron James, because that's the quickest way to win back Laker Nation.
Magic place in Laker lore is secure. He can say whatever he can say. The Lakers terrible for the next 50 years. Magic Johnson is secure.
Did it not end badly when he was the GM?
Well,
didn't it end bitterly? Yes, it did.
He did Jeannie a favor. To give the Lakers credibility, he said she asked her good friend Magic, because they're very close in age, Skip. They basically grew up together. Can you come do me this solid? He did that solid. But, Skip, that's not in Magic's heart. Magic is a businessman. He want to do things outside of basketball.
I got you, but it did end badly, and ever since, he's been on Twitter trying to say, ain't we great? And I love that about him, because that's how his heart is.
Let me ask you a question.
He bleeds purple and gold.
Do you believe LeBron would have come to the Lakers if Magic Johnson hadn't been the GM at the time?
I don't know that. I mean, the Lakers are an institution that supersedes even Magic Johnson. So the sun out here in the West Coast, it's the sun, not because of Magic. It's just like God was good.
So he was coming with Jim Buss and Mitch Kupchak. Okay.
Well, again, the Lakers are the Lakers, and living in L.A. is, as you well know, living in L.A.
Jim Buss, the one that signed Luol Deng, that signed Timothy Mozgov.
And stop. Hollywood is Hollywood. And Michael B. Jordan is Michael B. Jordan, right? And you pursue that path also, and he's pursuing both at the same time and doing famously. So I give you all of the above. Just the other day on the show, we went back and forth about who's the most valuable Laker, not sports.
Oh, no, you went back and forth. I ain't go back and forth with
you. I'm just playing off what LeBron said. We go as AD goes. When he comes back and he's AD, then we'll be the Lakers again. Well, that indicated to me that LeBron says he's a little more valuable than I am at my stage and age.
Can you ask me a question? Can you answer me this? Where has LeBron been in which his team has not at least made it to the finals? Name the team that he's played on.
All right, I'm about to name lots of teams. Okay, so on Sunday at Phoenix, there's no Chris Paul. Monty Williams had to pull Chris Paul and barely play him in the second half because, as Monty said, he couldn't even run. He couldn't pass the ball with his right hand the way he usually does. So he was a complete liability on offense. So it's complete advantage Lakers. And Everybody chipped in. Everybody had a good game. You were raving yesterday about Schroeder. Was Schroeder not? Is that possibly the best game he's played as a Laker?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about Tuesday night's game. Tuesday night's game.
Okay, well, he was really good the other day. He scored 24 on Sunday, right?
No,
okay.
Tuesday.
Huh?
Last Tuesday night.
Okay.
24 he scored Sunday. Schroeder.
Okay. Sunday, right?
No, Tuesday. Sunday they lost.
Okay. No, they just won.
They just won Tuesday. The day is Thursday.
Okay.
That's the game you're talking about.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, Tuesday.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're talking about Tuesday,
so they lost on, but Schroeder scored 24 in the last game.
Yes,
is what I'm talking
Tuesday,
about.
yes.
Okay, and you're raving about Big Penguin. He goes 15 and 12.
Yeah.
Did that help?
Drum dog millionaire.
And how about the most valuable Laker? AD goes 34 and 10. Was that not good?
Yeah,
and in
great.
the fourth quarter, AD scores 14 and LeBron scores 5. And Magic's tweeting, the scoring and leadership of LeBron James, the best player in all of basketball, played a crucial role in the Lakers' victory. Well, he played his part, but I've seen LeBron play a lot better than that.
Of course,
right?
But Skip, it's not so much how much you score, it's when you score.
Okay.
Those buckets, that three-pointer in the corner, that turnaround jumper was huge. Calm it down.
Okay, so let's go now to your big picture statement that you said LeBron is the most valuable player in all of sports.
Oh.
Okay, LeBron James in the finals, the last time I checked, is 4 and 6.
Yes.
He's lost 6 times in the finals, and he should be 3 and 7 if not for Ray Allen making the greatest clutch shot I have ever seen to save his legacy in the 2013 NBA Finals.
Okay.
And meanwhile, Tom Brady is 7 and 3 in Super Bowls and should be 9 and 1, except that Bill Belichick obviously cost him 2 because in the first Giants Super Bowl, Tom Brady did what he always did. Game-winning drive, 2 minutes to go, up 14-10. And here came Eli against Belichick's defense and goes 75 yards for the game-winning touchdown and erased what should have been a Tom Brady Super Bowl victory. And then against Philadelphia, Tom Brady goes out and throws for an all-time playoff record, 505, and puts up 33 points. And Belichick's defense gives up 41 to the backup Philadelphia quarterback because Malcolm Butler is mysteriously doghoused. It felt sabotagey to me. But again, it cost Tom Brady being 9 and 1 in Super Bowls.
But see, you can't say it cost him because there are games that he could have easily lost. He could have easily lost that first Super Bowl. He could have easily lost to the Eagles. He could have easily lost to...
He had game-winning drives in his first 6
What about
wins.
Vinatieri? So what does Vinatieri play? Did he save his bacon?
Well, he'll be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
He just retired yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. But everyone was a game-winning drive set up by Tom Brady completing 5 or 6 straight passes.
But here's the thing. Yes, Tom Brady put them in position, but Vinatieri has to be able to make the kick.
But they're makeable kicks. Okay, but he didn't make 65-yarders.
But 48 yards, Super Bowl. The bigger the game, the bigger the moment, the more pressure's on the kick. And we've seen guys miss. LeBron James can make a perfect pass. Remember, Russ said the hardest thing about the triple-double is the assist. Because I can make it easy for you, but I can't make the basket for you. And so LeBron James giving an easy pass to Kyle Korver, he missed a shot. Okay.
And yet, in LeBron's first year with the Lakers, didn't have this much talent, but he had some talent around him. And what happened? He went into, what's he call it, playoff mode, where he activated playoff mode.
He got hurt.
Yeah. Well,
that was the first time.
That's when he came back, and they didn't even make the playoffs.
But here's the thing, Skip. He got hurt, and that was the first time in his career that he had missed that much time. So you said, I'm going to activate, but he really didn't know how his body was going to respond because his body had never been in that situation before.
So now let's look at the 43-year-old quarterback in his first year away from Bill Belichick in Tampa. In the middle of a pandemic with no preseason and very little practice time, he takes a 7-9 team and a franchise known as the Succaneers, was the worst winning percentage in the history of sports as a franchise. And in his first year, against all odds, he flips the culture and it installs the Patriot way in Tampa Bay. And all of a sudden, they go win the Super Bowl. That's off the charts greatness. All of a sudden, he goes to 7-3 in Super Bowls, and he has established himself as simply the greatest clutch player in the history of sports, and to me, the greatest leader in the history of sports. It's period, end of story, because playing quarterback, as you will attest, is simply the hardest position to play in all of sports.
Let me ask you a question. Tampa defense plays like it plays in the Super Bowl. What top 5, top 6, top 7 quarterback couldn't have done what Tom Brady did?
Okay, but they didn't play that way until...
They played that way in the playoffs.
In the second playoff game. They didn't play that way against little Tyler Heineke,
but
right?
They made the plays when they needed... Remember, they picked him up. They were driving and he picked him up. They picked him off. So I'm just asking, okay, of the top players, top 7 players, name the guys that could have gone back to Cleveland and taken them to 4 straight. Steph, I give you Steph, KD, James Harden, whomever you want. Name the ones that could have did what LeBron James did.
In the Eastern Conference.
In the Eastern Conference.
Yep. Well, the point is he was in the East, and you know it was a cakewalk every year. It was a done deal. He was going to get to the finals.
So you're going to have that same energy for KD? Because he's in the East now.
Yep.
Unless we flip the map upside down and now the East is the West and the West is the East. So are you going to say there's a cakewalk? Oh, okay. So that's what you said. You said the East is a cakewalk. That's what you just told me.
Okay, look at who he got to beat up on. The baby dinosaurs in Toronto. Remember those teams?
The team that won the championship?
Remember Paul George's or George Paul's Indiana? That's who he got to beat.
Whoa.
Okay, all of a sudden, we have a serious contender with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, coached by Doc Rivers in Philadelphia. Milwaukee looks better than it's ever looked. It looks like Giannis is starting to figure it out and starting to grow up.
What about Chicago? Did your D-Rose win the championship? They had D-Rose. They had Noah, Defensive Player of the Year, Taj Gibson.
They were pretty good.
Yeah, and what happened?
Yeah.
Skip, okay, I want to know of the top players, name the ones that could have taken Drew Gooden, Larry Hu, Ilgauskas, Snow, and Pavlovic to an NBA Finals. Even in the East, name the player other than GOAT James.
Pretty good, and then he got swept.
Against a team that had Tim Duncan, the greatest power forward to ever live, Tony Parker, a Finals MVP.
You said he was the best player on the planet. Couldn't win a game.
No.
Couldn't even sniff a game.
Kind of like Jordan. When he got swept by Boston, he couldn't win a game.
Yeah, but he scored 63.
So now we hold on. LeBron James averaged 36, 13, and 9, and he lost to Golden State. And you talk about if you're the best player, you got to win that. Well, if Michael Jordan was the best player, he can't get swept. He got swept twice. He got swept twice. His first 3 playoff games, he won 1 game.
Well, he got swept after he came off a broken foot that kept him out the whole year.
Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? But you didn't say that about LeBron when he hurt his groin and missed the playoffs. But he made the playoffs with a losing record. And you commend that. You see, we got to be careful now. I remember when Devin Booker scored 70 in the loss. You're like, what are you holding up 70 for? You lost the game. We still heap praise. We say the 63-point game is the greatest game ever played. And Jordan lost.
Since LeBron James has been in the NBA, in the last 10 seconds of late and close games, no one has missed more free throws or more field goals than LeBron James. He is not clutch. Brady is the essence of clutch. LeBron has no clutch gene. It's been proven again and again and again.
In the final minutes of a ball game, in the last 25 seasons, only one player has more shots to tie or take the lead of a ball game. That's Kobe Bryant.
Yep, and he's played 320 more playoff games than Michael Jordan played.
Did you realize, Skip, that when LeBron James passed Michael Jordan for the all-time leader in playoff points, he did it on 120 fewer shots? Did you realize that? So how many shots? So over the course of, let's see, LeBron James averages 20 shots a game. So that's basically 6 games. He did it in 120 fewer shots. I think just now, LeBron has just passed Michael Jordan with shot attempts. And he's what? 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 points ahead of him?
Who's the worst late game star free throw shooter you've ever seen?
Who
has the Achilles heel free throw shooting? Who's the worst? Skip, it's LeBron. He's disqualified from this conversation. He's out. I'm not going to even debate that with you. We know what he is. He's not the greatest free throw shooter. But what Magic said, he's the greatest leader, influential person when it comes to winning in the NBA. Now, if you want to take it outside the NBA, you took it there. I'm right there with you. He's the most influential. You took it there.
I did. I mean, because I wanted to go there.
I was stunned.
Don't be stunned. Don't be, well, here, you want some, hey, bring me some water so I can get Skip out of this stunness. You know good and well GOAT James and what he represents.
He's a 34% career three-point shooter. That is abysmal.
If you don't mind, since you over there, you got stats down. What was Michael Jordan's career three-point shooting?
They didn't even shoot threes.
They did shoot threes. Well, how the hell Reggie Miller had all them threes if they didn't shoot them back then?
Nobody cared.
Now nobody cared. Skip, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Nobody cared about three. Reggie Miller got damn near 3,000, but nobody cared about him.
LeBron was 16th in PER this year. Brady graded 3rd overall last regular season. He's even better at 43 than LeBron is at 36.
Man, you better hush.
Well, he just
Skip,
is.
first of all, you know the wear and tear, what he has to do. See, Tom doesn't have to play defense. Tom does what he does offensively. Okay, he's off the field. LeBron James don't get that luxury. LeBron James don't get a luxury to say, okay, I just scored a basket. Let me go to the sideline. Hey, Kuz, get in there and play defense. Okay, they score down on the other end. Hey, I'm back in, Kuz. He doesn't get to do that. Not only must he run the offense, he also has to be Ed Reed and play free safety on the back end.
Okay.
Skip, don't do that.
Well, that's how basketball works. Yet quarterback is harder to play than point guard in basketball.
Skip,
it just is.
All I know is that when Tom Brady got hurt, what did his team do? Matt Castle got $60 million because he filled in for Tom.
Well, he went and made a Pro Bowl in Kansas City. He was pretty good.
Just so you guys know, we do have more Tom later in the show. He's at it again on social media. I will explain that later, but it is time for a trending story brought to you by the all-new Liberty Mutual. Only pay for what you need. While many around the NFL wonder if Tim Tebow can work with the Jaguars' #1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence said the veteran has already had an impact. Lawrence said that Tebow looks great and also, quote, he's just a guy that you want to be around. Character is awesome. Now, we've heard those things before about Tim Tebow. So, Shannon, do you believe Trevor Lawrence here?
Yeah, you know what, Skip? I do believe him.
Sure.
That's how my friends work. They're great guys I want to be around. That's how they became my friends. But all my friends, I don't want playing professional football with me. There's a difference between the two. You see what I did there, Skip?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You my homeboy. Yeah, I mean, Skip, I want to be around Skip. I don't know, Skip, if I want, you know, I don't know if I don't know if I want you playing wide receiver with my team, Skip. That's Tim Tebow is Urban Meyer's guy. Urban Meyer made Trevor Lawrence the first pick in the draft. The likelihood of you finding someone to badmouth Tebow, especially as Tebow's on the team. Guys don't normally badmouth their own teammate. That's rule number one. Now, years later, they might come out with a book or something, you know, somebody catch somebody off the record or, you know, and they say something. But for the most part, he said what I expected him to say. Tim's a great guy. He's hardworking. He's just a great guy to be around. I believe in sincerity that Trevor probably believed that. Because like he said, he had never had any interaction with Tebow prior to meeting him in the locker room once he officially signed. So, you know, Skip, Tim comes across as very engaging and you know, a great teammate, great guy to be around. But for me, no. So I'm not saying that Tim Tebow is not a great guy, Skip. When you're that level of football player, it's hard to be a jerk. It's really the really great players that tend to be the jerk. I don't know if anybody noticed this, but it's the great basketball, football, baseball, hockey player. You can't be a jerk if you're terrible. How you gonna be a jerk and a bad athlete, a bad football player, basketball, baseball player? So Tim Tebow need to be gracious because he wasn't very good. You know that, I know that. So I don't got no problem. Hey, Trevor, you doing the right thing, bro. Hey, that's how you become a leader. You don't speak bad about your team. If somebody plays bad, you say, hey, we got to play better. I got to do a better job of throwing the football. That's how you become a leader. That kid got it. He gets it. He's been a leader for an extremely long time. You play the quarterback position, Skip, even when it's not your fault, you take blame because the guy's like, got guys thinking like, you know, I remember when, you know, I ran the wrong route or dropped the pass, John would say, you know, I need to play better. I'm like, bro, you know damn well you can't play any better than what you played. We got to make plays for you. We dropping passes. We fumbling the ball. But you going to take the blame for us? Okay, I'm going to rock with you. You my dog.
So I am here to say that Tim Tebow is about to be great for Trevor Lawrence on and off the football field. By doing what?
Well, how you going to help him on the field?
First of all, have you ever heard one player badmouth Tim Tebow? Nobody has ever played. I don't know Tim Tebow very well. I've been around him 2 or 3 times, but I've talked to dozens of players who've been around Tebow on a consistent basis. I've never heard one of them say he was a bad guy or a fraud or a phony or difficult to deal with. Always upbeat, always in a good mood, fun to be around. That's all I've ever heard about Tim Tebow. So let's start with that. In the quarterback room, I think he'll be just fine and dandy for Trevor Lawrence.
To do what?
Just to be a help, you know, like a guiding light for him, a mentor for him.
If you look at Tom, you look at Peyton, you look at Drew, they would have their backup quarterbacks. I need you to break down tape, and I need me to tell me what you see or what you think we should do. You think Tim Tebow can break down tape and tell Trevor Lawrence?
Nope.
Okay, so what the hell good is he?
Here's what, you talk about Tim Tebow like he never played in the National Football League.
I didn't say he didn't.
Okay.
He had a cup of coffee and read a comic book, but he good.
So here's what Tim Tebow did, just to remind everybody. In his sophomore year in college, he won the Heisman Trophy.
Yes.
He should have won it, I believe, in his junior year, but Sam Bradford of the University of Oklahoma won it, and Tebow was furious over that.
Why was he furious over it?
Because he thought he should have won it.
Sam Bradford had 50 touchdowns with 8 picks.
Yeah, well, Tim Tebow was extraordinary that year. He went 30-4, but he scored 12 rushing touchdowns.
So he still showed.
Huh?
He still showed 8 touchdowns.
Okay, well, but you know, I watched every snap that Sam Bradford ran that year, and I was never sold on him. I said it on TV 1,000 times. I would not take him #1 overall. I was sold on Tim Tebow. He should have won 2 Heismans. He did win 2 national championships. And guess what? Josh McDaniels, you respect him, right?
Yeah, I think he's a great offensive mind.
He's a great offensive mind. Would you believe that Josh McDaniels did all of his research and all of his homework and decided to pick Tim Tebow in the first round of the draft as a quarterback, not an H-back or a tight end, as a quarterback?
Right.
Would you believe that Tim Tebow as a first-round pick, and if Josh McDaniels had stayed, if he'd stayed afloat in Denver, God knows, we'd be having a whole different story. Tebow might still be the quarterback.
He's a great offensive mind, but that mind seemed to only work with Tom Brady. So I'm going to see what he can do with Cam Newton.
We'll see about that. So I'm here to tell you that in 2011, Tim Tebow was the center of the NFL universe. To me, there's never been a bigger single story in any single football season in the history of your league than Tim Tebow in 2011. I dare you to find one that's bigger than Tim Tebow. He was it. It's all anybody wanted to talk about or watch that year. Go look at the ratings of his games, because he did things no one had ever seen before. It was one of the most miraculous resuscitations of a bad football team that was 1-4, one of the great rallies, season-long rallies we've ever seen. He took them to the division championship. He took them to a first-round playoff win at home over Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he was, during that season, he became the most polarizing player in all of sports. And I think he remains that. And right here, right now, he is way better known, way more popular than Trevor Lawrence ever thought about being up to this point.
But can he play football?
Okay, but the point is, you need a mentor. You need a big brother. Well, Tebow knows the heat of the spotlight better than anybody, better than most quarterbacks. Outside of Brady or Peyton, no one's ever been in a hotter spotlight than Tim Tebow.
Skip, Trevor Lawrence started 36 games.
Yep.
He's 34-2. He's been a starting quarterback basically his entire life.
Who's better known, Tim Tebow or Trevor Lawrence?
Tim Tebow has is better known. But Skip, the problem that I have, and everybody keeps throwing this 2011 season. Why does Tim Tebow's resume of 2011 gets to stand the test of time, but Colin Kaepernick's 2012, when he took a team to the Super Bowl, did not?
We know why that was. We know what happened. I've said 1,000 times on the show, Colin Kaepernick should still be a starting quarterback. We know what happened. Yeah. We also know what happened to Tim Tebow. If you wear your religion on the sleeve, if you get too outspoken about religion, you will talk your way right out of the league, and he did.
If you can play. So let me ask you a question. Hold on.
Are you kidding?
Time out, Skip. Time out.
You took a team to a division championship and a playoff win, and you can't play?
That's all you got to do.
That's just foolishness.
That's all you got to do.
I throw the facts at you. You say, well, you can't play.
Hold on, time out.
You're just like everybody else. Oh, he can't play.
Hold on. So
you know what? He was one of the great clutch playmakers I have ever seen in my entire career. Over a big body of work, 16 games. I've never seen anybody consistently make late-game clutch plays better than Tim Tebow. That's a pretty big body of work, 16 games.
Yeah.
So, again, if Trevor Lawrence has half a brain, and I think he's got a big brain, he'll know what the resume is. He'll know what Tim Tebow has been through. He'll know that Tim Tebow can talk him through things that need to get talked through, that he can help him with his media availability, how to handle the media. No one's been under fire from the media more than Tim Tebow has.
And nobody has used the media to build their brand more than Tim Tebow.
Okay.
So don't make it seem like, the media's been beating him down, because that's why he's back.
The media does not like Tim Tebow.
Skip,
trust me.
Skip, the only you know why Tim Tebow is back. Tim Tebow is back because there's something about being a professional athlete and getting that attention. Because he's still Tim Tebow. He's still, but when are they talking about Tim Tebow when he's doing his Saturday gig on ESPN on the SEC network?
Nope.
They're talking about Tim Tebow. Why? That's why Tim Tebow is back. Tim Tebow is addicted to fame. Now you can do all this.
Addicted to fame. He's addicted to competition. As Urban Meyer said the other day to Chris Collinsworth, he is simply the most competitive maniac you will ever meet.
Yep, there's a lot of guys.
That's what it is. There's one coach who gets that, and that's Urban Meyer.
There's a lot of guys that can be competitive, but he wasn't a very good football player. Skip. All you got is 2011. Nobody in the history of the game.
That's all I got because it's the only opportunity he got.
Hey. So what did I tell you? But I want to go back to this thing you said about religion. If Tom Brady wore his religion on his arm, you think Tom Brady would be out of the league?
Yeah, if he'd done it in his first year like that.
Tom Brady, no. Tom Brady's first year starting, Tom Brady won the Super Bowl. Drew Brees. If any of those guys, if you can play, Tim Tebow can't play. So what comes along with that? AB, I give you a prime example. AB, with all the baggage that AB has done, AB's still on the roster. Why? Because he can play. We've had guys that done worse things than Tim Tebow and get chance after chance because they can play. So don't give me this about this religion, Skip.
You keep telling me he can't play.
He can't.
And I keep showing you game after game after game after clutch play after clutch play after big pass play after big run after big pass. He just kept doing it all year. Your team was dead in the water under Kyle Orton. John Elway didn't want to do it, and he throws him into the fire at Miami, and he goes and wins it in overtime.
Okay, do me this. Okay.
What more do you want?
Okay.
It's not 2 games, it's 16 games.
Appease me this. Give me this. Name the player that could have not taken a snap in 9 years, been away from the NFL for 6 years, come back, change positions, and get a job in the NFL. Just name one guy. Give me one guy.
Well, you'd have to give me the scenario in which his college coach, who won 2 national championships with him, suddenly became a first-time pro coach in your league, the NFL.
Oh, so in other words, it's kind of like what Mike McCarthy did with Ben McAdoo.
No, it's not like that.
It's not? Anybody homeboy?
Was Ben McAdoo a competitive force of nature?
No, I'm just saying your homeboy.
Did he win 2
I'm just saying your homeboy. I'm just saying you just keep nepotism, cronyism. You just keep bringing your home. You keep your homeboy
That's just embarrassing cronyism is what that is, as was Mike Nolan.
What is this?
That's Mike McCarthy paying somebody back.
What is this?
Oh, well, this is a coach who says, I want to win games. I want to show people how wrong they were about Tim Tebow because I won a national championship with him playing H-back for me, playing sort of a quasi-wildcat quarterback. And every time we had short yardage goal line plays, I put him in and he scored or he got a first down because he wills himself into somebody else under pressure. I've never seen anything like it.
The thing is that Tim Tebow got you fooled and got himself fooled. He was so great of an athlete, he couldn't play quarterback. I'm going to pick up a bat after a decade and play baseball. Well, he couldn't do that, and now all of a sudden, the position that a lot of teams was willing to give him an opportunity to play in his 20s, he was beneath him. No, I'm a quarterback. I need the ball in my hands every single time. Now, 33, about to be 34, oh, you know what? I'm going to switch positions. You're not that talented. He's athletic at a lot of things, but he's not really good in anything.
Blueprint, freshman year, Florida. Here it is all over again. He's going to make you eat every last word you just spewed all over the table. It'll be just like I went through at ESPN in 2011. He will prove you wrong and wrong and wrong again because now he has a coach who actually believes in
he got the skill.
Who understands what he can do in key situations.
Which is not play quarterback.
Well, he'll be playing some quarterback.
Whoa. There ain't no quarterback weight number 85. The quarterback number.
By the way, speaking of 85, the good people at Fox here were good enough to get me this.
Oh boy!
Give me that jersey. Give me that jersey. Give me that jersey. Let me hold it right quick.
Who got you that?
Let me see if it's authentic. Let me hold it right quick.
My new lucky jersey.
Let me hold it right quick.
Let's see it.
No, I want to hold it.
It's not going to last very long because he will wear number 15 before this over. So this will become a collector's item. But it's shameful to you because it's got a tight end number on it right now, which is actually one better than the one you wore. Yeah, but 85 over 84.
Me, Gonzo, and all the all-time greats. Nah, he ain't one of us. He ain't one of us.
Here he comes.
My nephew Trav and Kittle, they like, nah.
This is your worst nightmare is number 85, Tebow, Jacksonville Jaguar. Thanks very much.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Yep.
I can't even believe that that's a reality. We're seeing his name.
I can't either, Jenny.
It's
happening. I can't believe it either.
Can't believe it.
No mercy.
While heading to the locker room after injuring his ankle last night, a fan dumped popcorn on Russell Westbrook, and he had to be held back by multiple members of security to not confront the fan. The fan was ejected shortly after. And Westbrook said after the game, quote, "In these arenas, you got to start protecting the players." We'll see what the NBA does. And meanwhile, in New York last night, a video was tweeted out highlighting a fan also potentially spitting on Trae Young as he was inbounding the ball. Trae laughed it off in a tweet, calling it crazy, but coupled with the Westbrook incident, it certainly is raising a lot of eyebrows right now. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joining us now. Chris, I'm curious your thoughts here. How concerned should the NBA be?
Well, first, let me applaud you guys for bringing up the Trae Young incident as well as Westbrook, because a lot of people are just talking about the Westbrook situation. And as bad as that was, and obviously that needs to be dealt with, I think the situation at Madison Square Garden where the fan tried to spit on Trae Young is worse. I mean, what happened in Philadelphia is terrible and unnecessary. What happened in New York is disgusting. You know, when you try to spit on a player, and maybe people aren't talking about it as much because he didn't land on Trae, but that doesn't matter to me. The intention was there, and not to mention we're at the tail end of a pandemic. We're wearing masks to protect ourselves from saliva and germs and things like that, and you spit on a player, or you try to? I think that fan should be banned for life from Madison Square Garden. I think the NBA has to deal with the fan in Philadelphia. Look into it. Is it a 5-year ban, 10 years, life? You know, they can deal with that. But they do have to protect the players because the league needs to come down on this and be concerned about it because you heard Westbrook allude to, you know, if I go up in the stands, it's a problem, or obviously he tried to go in the stands. LeBron, when he tweeted out, if the shoe was on the other foot, almost like, hey, if they can do this to us, why can't we do that to them? You can never allow the players to go in the stands. No matter what the fans do, you just can't have players going in the stands. None of us want to see the malice at the palace.
I do.
So the league has to the league has to respond on behalf of the players, and they have to come down hard to make sure fans don't do things that would lead players to want to go in the stands. So I also think, guys, it's interesting that this came one day after Kyrie Irving brought up racism in Boston and potential racism at the game there. I think a lot of fans feel like as long as I don't use the N-word, a lot of white fans, then I can say anything to a black player. You know, like it's not racist if it's not the N-word, which is ridiculous. There are many other words, many other things you can do or say to black athletes or black people in general that are racist. And I don't know these two guys that did these things. I know that in baseball or maybe hockey, this stuff can happen and has happened to white athletes. And maybe it is an outgrowth of, you know, the overwhelming majority of the fans at NBA games are white. And obviously the overwhelming majority of players are black. But I guarantee you that black players and executives and coaches and blacks in the NBA are looking at this as a racial situation as well. Many of them, maybe not all, but many, I'd say most, are looking at the racial element of this. And the fact is, just because you cheer or really adore a black athlete or you like rap music, you listen to rap music, doesn't mean you can't be racist. And doesn't mean that racism is dissipating and all of that. Because people go cheer for horses at the Kentucky Derby. All right, you can develop a strong emotional bond and connection to your dog or your pet. So none of that, because you have an emotional connection to a black athlete, doesn't mean you can't be racist. If you weren't going to be racist, then you treat black people with respect. Period. The end. That's it. Doesn't mean you can't go to the game and jeer and boo and trash talk and all of that. but you can do it in a way that isn't disrespectful. Again, whether these incidents were racially motivated or not, that's something that, because of the history of this country, we have to look at. Or just as a human beings, it was just disrespectful, uncalled for, ridiculous behavior. And I do think the NBA needs to come down hard on it.
I agree. I'm looking at it like this. First of all, any incident like this, the team is automatically fined $1 million. And it goes up from there. So we're going to hold you... The home team. Yes, your home arena, you're going to be fined $1 million. Then we're going to start with that. Now, the fan is going to be banned for life. So any event that's held at that arena, doesn't have to be a game. It could be a hockey game. It could be a concert, a comedy concert. You're banned for life.
Okay.
And, Skip, it's kind of like when I see people go into these enclosures at the zoo, I'll be applauding the lion. Get him, the tiger, get him. You go into the silverback enclosure, beat him down because you went into his environment. When these players are playing at the basketball game, that's the player's environment.
Yeah.
Now, when you cross the line by dumping popcorn and spitting, and I agree with you, Chris, the spitting incident is 1 million times worse. And I get Russ was already agitated. He was having a bad night. And Skip, you know, sometimes, Skip, we just having a bad day. And the slightest thing.
And he was hurt.
Yes. I'm having a bad game.
Yeah.
I'm hurt. And this mofo dumped popcorn on my head.
It's like the final straw.
Exactly.
And there was a part of me that I wanted to see them let Russ go. Let him just go.
Please let Russ get him and beat the brakes off him. Because, you know, Chris...
Obviously, nothing good comes of that. But, you know, we said a message would would get sent.
And you would have thought, Skip, after Chris, and we were Skip and I was talking about the first segment, you would have thought after the Malice of the Palace, the fans like, you know what? Nah, man, I ain't getting to that. Because the way you saw Metta World Peace and you saw Stack Jack run up in the stand and be swinging on folk left and right, nah, I don't want none of that because I can't beat these players. But no, seem like they become more emboldened because they know the rules prohibit players from running up into the stands. They know the fine is going to be so severe. I think Stack Jack said it cost them like $5-6 million. It cost Metta World Peace.
At least it cost him $6 million for sure, but then he lost his endorsement.
And Metta World Peace.
Yeah, he was an MVP candidate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they understand the penalty for the player is far greater than it is for them if they were to do the act. Yeah. So therefore, there's like, well, you know, what's the worst thing that could happen? But the NBA does need to do something. Fans, contain yourself. You pay to cheer. You pay to boo. You don't pay to disrespect the player. Yeah. This isn't trash talking. The player, everybody, the players are getting soft. No. Imagine somebody showing up to your job. I'm going to give it to you like this, people at home. Imagine somebody coming up to your job and spitting on you. Somebody coming up to your job and dumping popcorn on you or throwing ice or throwing water at you. I'm coming to your job. And I'm going to say, man, you soft. I remember back in the day, we used to do this all the time. You wouldn't like it. That's somebody's child. Remember that. Just like you have kids and you want to protect them, that's someone's child. Russ was well within his right. They're getting out of pocket with this, and the NBA need to step in.
So, Chris, back to you. You and I have covered this league for many, many years. I love the NBA. I really love the NBA playoffs. This is tearing me apart that the game is again being threatened by a couple of bad apples. For the most part, fans are fairly well behaved.
Yes.
And yet, Chris, wouldn't you agree with me? The NBA is the greatest fan viewing experience, in-house viewing experience there is in sports because you can, in many places, you can reach out and touch.
You're close, right?
It's beautiful. And as Shannon brought up earlier in the show, you're walking up the tunnel after the game, you can reach out and touch. They might flip you a sweatband or a headband or
your towel. Yeah, you get the shoes.
You get the shoes. You can slap five with them. You know, you can interact.
Players take up. Players used to give their jersey.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
That is now under threat.
Right.
So, Chris, I appreciate you brought up the racial component here. Just for the record, and maybe I haven't studied it closely enough, but I think the fan in question in Philadelphia was a black man, I think. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I didn't see it. It looked
like it to me. It's a man in a red baseball cap with a black sweater draped around him. That's what I saw. I could be wrong. I haven't really put the pencil.
Yeah, because I was trying to see. I was hoping they pan so we could see, but I couldn't see.
Okay, but now let's go to, by far, the more egregious incident is at Madison Square Garden. Again, fans are overjoyed. The Knicks are back in the playoffs, and they're back in the building, and people are walking up and down Madison Avenue in New York, and it's feeling like we're about to come out of this ordeal we've been in. So emotions are running high and joyful, and all of a sudden, somehow little Trae Young, he's like 5'11", and he's a sweet kid. He's a really good kid. He's become the object of scorn in New York. I don't get it.
He's their Reggie Miller now.
Yeah, I know. Come on, what?
Right.
And we're only in game 2. It's not like this has been going on. It's not like there's a history of this rivalry.
Right.
And yet, this guy in the second row, and he is definitely a white guy, he winds up and he spits over a woman's shoulder. And you can see in the video, she flinches, and you have to blow up the video on your phone. You have to enlarge it, but you can see spit fly.
Right.
And I don't know if it lands on Trae's shoulder or back of his arm. I can't really tell where it falls. But the intention was there. I don't think Trae was aware of it. He was aware after the game, but at the moment he wasn't aware, or he would have. I'm pretty sure he would have wheeled and dealed, right?
I don't know if that was her husband or boyfriend sitting next to her, but I'd have turned around and slapped him in his mouth.
Okay. Well, I got it.
50 Cent. That's 50 Cent.
Oh, is it?
Isn't that 50 Cent? Yeah.
Oh.
I'm so, I don't know why he didn't do anything. He might not have seen it.
I might have been 35 Cent because I'd have slapped the change out of his mouth.
But to your point, Chris,
that's 50 Cent, and that's what
that
Trae
is definitely a white man on a black player. So we've got issues going on, and again, we need to identify who that fan is. He needs to be banned, but the other thing, he needs to become an object of public ridicule. The media needs to publicize who is this guy and what was he thinking. We need an interview with him. I want him to be on display for everybody to see this is the guy who did this.
Because if I'm not mistaken, Chris, you correct me if I'm wrong, but when players say something, curse words at fans or flip them off, they get fined.
Yeah.
So they getting all the protections, and the players are getting nothing. You get to yell and scream. Okay, fine, but just don't take it over that edge of the disrespect. I ain't got no problem. I suck. Yep. No, I'm not as good as KD. Oh, yeah, your players are better than me. I get all of that, but there's this notion that I paid $1,000. Well, Knicks fans, you know how much they're paying for those tickets to be that close.
Yep.
You don't pay enough money to be disrespectful.
Nope.
We just need.
It's just unfortunate too because we've waited so long to get fans back. And now, first few games, you got these things happening.
Well, it's like, yes, Chris, great point. We have the fans back in the stands. We missed you. Enjoy the game. Just be civilized and move on. It's just kind of embarrassing that we're even having this conversation, but hopefully the fans will take note and be better moving forward. Chris, we appreciate you joining us.
No mercy.
The Clippers find themselves in an 0-2 hole to climb out against the Mavericks when they play Game 3 tomorrow night in Dallas. The Clippers opened as a 1.5-point favorite and now find themselves as 2-point favorites according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. So, Shannon, are you surprised by this?
I'm a little surprised, Skip, considering how well the Mavericks have played, and they are going home, and they're going to have 15,000 fans in a 19,000-seat arena. So they're going to have...
Watch, it'll be 19. Before all's said and done, it'll be 19.
You're probably right.
There won't be a seat in the house.
You're probably right, Skip. So they're really going to have a home court advantage.
Yes.
And considering how well they played and how electric that crowd is going to be, I thought at worst case scenario maybe it'd be pick'em game or maybe the Mavericks by a point. But I guess the Fox Bet believed that the Clippers are still the better team. And that was two anomalies. And they believe the Mavs, because if you remember, Skip, even after they lost what, 1-2? They were still favored to beat the Nuggets. And I'm like, well, hold on. 6 points, I think it was like 5 points, 4 points, 6 points. Even in Game 7, they were the overwhelming favorites because I believe the books say they're still the better team, and the better team's going to win. But what Luka doing, I don't know if the book has been watching what Luka's done to the Clippers in his games, in his 8 games of playing, Skip. I mean, 39-7-7, 31-10-11. He's 32-10-9 in his 8 games against them. He's shooting 50% from the floor, 38% from the three-point line. So I am surprised that Fox Bet decided to make the Clippers a 2-point favorite over the Mavericks. But the Clippers will come out ready to play. Ty Lue is telling them we got to get the crowd out of it early Because, you know, they're going to be buzzing. They're going to be electric. Ain't going to be no more cardboard cutouts, Skip. Ain't no showing Dirk Nowitzki's face and all the Maverick great players' faces.
Nope.
Those are going to be actual live fans yelling and screaming.
So I thought you'd be outraged over this, more outraged than surprised.
I'm surprised.
And all I got to say is, Lord, have mercy on the Clippers. You know what Rick Carlisle's going to do with this?
Yep.
He's going to tell his team tomorrow night before the game, you went into their building and you kicked their "We Want Dallas" tails up and down their court. And now they've come into your house and they're still favored over you by 2 points.
Right.
And they will be re-inspired to shoot 50% from three and to shoot my team right in its heart, right in its stomach, right in its psyche.
You go play that disrespect card, they still don't respect you.
But I get this. I've been getting it all year. I got it last year. This team is loaded. It just doesn't play loaded. This team last year in the bubble against the Denver Nuggets, every game was favored by more than your Lakers were favored in their series with the Nuggets, which came later, obviously.
Right.
So remember what happened in the bubble against the Nuggets. And again, this was with Jamal Murray and Yoke, right?
Yep.
And so the Clippers had won 3 games by 23, 6, and 11 points. And then in the next, the 3 closeout games, 5, 6, and 7, they're ahead by 16, 19, and 12 and cannot close any of those 3 deals. Well, that shows you firepower, right?
Yep.
But it shows you something is missing. I thought the something was playoff Rondo, but that has not been the case so far. I'd like to see him play more than 22 or 3 minutes a game. I'd like to see him start and finish
Actually,
the game.
Reggie Jackson and Pat Bev are playing more minutes than Rondo.
Okay, I don't get that. But the point is, in game number 1, here at Staples, they're 6.5-point favorites. That's about right to me. I get that. Game 2, they were 6-point favorites. Now at Dallas, they're 2-point favorites. I get it because they're that good. They're that deep. They're that talented.
Right.
You know it. You picked them to win the first 2 games.
I did.
And yet, Luka, as Chris Broussard often says, he just was the best player on the floor. I'm not afraid of Luka as much as all those numbers. He's going to get those. That's what he does. He has the ball in his hands a lot. He's going to get those numbers. He's going to fill that stat sheet. But if you let the rest of them all make 6 out of 8 threes like Tim Hardaway did in game number 2, you're going to lose because they were 35 of 70 from 3. They were the 18th in three-point shooting, and they made 35 of 70?
Well, so let me ask you a question. So do you let him just go one-on-one, get 40, 50 points?
That's what I would do, but you have to play defense on the rest of the guys.
Because remember skipping Portland, that's what they did to Joe. They let him get him, they could go one-on-one, he had 1 assist.
I got it. That's the only way to fly because he's too good a passer and he's too tall of a passer. He's like Magic. He can just see, or like LeBron. They can see over everything.
He's going to see over Pat Bev. He's going to see over.
You can see it like an offensive coordinator sitting upstairs in the press box can see it. You can see who's open.
Right.
So he just goes up. He's not a leaper, but he can just go up and throw a 2-handed overhead pass to whomever is open.
Right.
And if they're going to make those shots, it's like Russell said, the hard part is get the assist because they have to close the deal for you. Well, if Hardaway's going to make 6 out of 8 and Kleber's going to make 2 out of 2 and Porzingis at 7 feet 3 inches tall is going to make 3 out of 4, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose badly.
Yes.
Okay? Because nobody's guarding the other guys. I don't know why, but I told you, I watched them close. I watched every dribble of every game. And over the last 6 weeks of the season, they played pretty good defense. They were ranked 2nd in defensive efficiency over the last 6 weeks.
Right.
Well, what happened in games 1 and 2? Well, if they did, I don't believe they tanked. But if in the back of their minds they wanted Dallas because they thought they were easier, are they just sleepwalking? Do they think our talent will just will out? We'll just overwhelm them with our talent?
Sometimes you think that, oh, man, we better than them. They ain't got nobody but Luka. And then all of a sudden you realize you're in the fight because the longer you go in, Skip, it's just like anything. The longer you leave somebody the line says we're 6-point favorite. Now all of a sudden we get down to the 4th quarter, Skip, and we 10 points down. Now what? Now we got to go in panic mode to try to catch up. Skip, you're going to get some production from Luke Kennard. You said he was going to be big. They paid him $16 million. You need to get more than what you got out of Marcus Morris Sr. in the first 2 games.
I mean, Luke Kennard, he didn't even play in the game.
That's my point.
Hey, I got it.
He got 2 DMPs.
Yeah, and remember, he's a 40% three-point shooter.
Yeah.
Well, they led the league in three-point shooting, and he helped.
But here's the thing, Skip. They can't play him because they're already struggling defensively. Okay. He's not a defensive guy.
No, he's not.
And you look at they've made 33 Skip, in which they've been open to wide open. Open is Dallas has. Yes. 6 feet and below, wide open is 6 feet and beyond. Okay. So 30 of those are the 35.
That's embarrassing. That just means you're not committed at all to playing on the other end of the floor.
So they're making 3-pointers that's farther than the defender is farther apart than you and I.
And what do you think Kawhi Leonard is thinking? He scored 41 points, and they lost badly again.
But Skip, that's what should be concerning. You got 41 from Kawhi. You got 28 from Paul George. You got 69. That's what you hope for. You think, man, if we can get somewhere between 50 and 60 from our superstars, you got damn near 70, and you still lost.
Yeah, because Tim Hardaway paid 6, and they were all at just the right time. Yes. Every time there was a surge from the Clippers, he just said, no, sorry. And he was making deep threes, and he was shooting with such conviction, and they weren't rattling around. Right. They were dead swishing.
That one, Skip, that I think you guys had cut it to 4, and Luka hit Finney-Smith in the middle, and he kicked it harder.
Right out. That was the dagger.
That was the heartbreaker.
Hey, are they so then Ty Lue tries to play the psychological game and say, well, can you go home and shoot like that? Well, usually you're saying that, can you go on the road and shoot like that? Well, you would think they could go home and shoot like that.
But the question,
but he's playing the last card he can play in the deck.
But
he's desperate.
Ty Lue also got to ask himself, can Kawhi have how many more 41-point games? Because we've never seen him play like this in the playoffs. So how many of these type games, Skip, can he have where he's this efficient with those kind of numbers? Paul George played well. Now, he didn't shoot the 3-ball well, but other than that, he played well. Rebounded the ball, assisted the ball, had a couple of steals. You got 69 points and a bunch of rebounds and assists from your guys, and you lost, Ty Lue. So you got to ask yourself, man, can my 2 superstars play that well again? Because you really get no other contribution, so you got to hope they play that well.
I told you game 2 was do or die, and I'm going to stand by that. And they died. And I told you they're going to show you who they were in game 2, and I think they showed you they're just not that team.
Skip, this is game 7 for them. Because I'm not so sure, Skip, if they're not mentally tough enough in the clutch situations to win game, do you believe they can win 4 straight if they fall down 0-3?
No.
I don't either.
Again, I don't think they can win 3 out of what
they got to win 4.
4 out of
5.
5. Yeah, I don't think they can do that. That's a lot. From what you've seen from Luka and company,
yes.
Can you beat them 4 out of 5 times?
And what I haven't seen from the Clippers, which is consistency.
On defense or offense?
No.
I'm not seeing the ball movement. I thought Rondo would have the ball.
Man,
moving.
Rondo was yelling at Paul George. You're yelling at Serge. Serge was yelling back.
Yep.
I told you it's just going to be a matter of time, Rondo. Like, man, I see why you guys don't listen. Y'all head hard.
Yet the odds makers' heads are hard, too, because they're just sitting back saying, you guys are just better.
Yeah.
You're just better.
They're trying to get some of their money back, Skip.
Is that what it is?
They're trying to get some of their money back, yeah.
Maybe.
No mercy. Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson are set to play in this July's installment of The Match against Aaron Rodgers and Bryson DeChambeau. Brady is already talking trash, tweeting out several memes, including one of Bryson walking behind Brooks Koepka that pokes fun at the Packers kicking a field goal down 7 versus the Bucks in the NFC Championship game. Rodgers responded with an edited scene from Star Wars that had cutouts of his and Bryson's faces over Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, and Phil and Brady over bad guys Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett. So, Shannon, I love it. Who won the trash talk?
Brady got some good ones in, Skip. I think the biggest thing is that we're not used to seeing this level of athlete troll each other. I think Brady, Skip, this is Brady. Brady's like, you know what? I got all these pent up. I just can't do. Hey, Skip, you know how you have one job and then you go to another job where you can really be yourself? Yeah. And they're like, I didn't know he was like that. Yeah, he was just like that. He was just waiting for an opportunity to be himself. And Tom Brady's having the time of his life on social media. He's really opening up, and I love it. I actually do love it because, you know, sometimes, you know, these guys get so scripted, so guarded because they have, you know, their brand is, okay, I'm guarded, I'm buttoned up. But you see Tom Brady like, He'd be sitting around the house like, yeah, okay, who can I get today? I like this one. Probably send it to his social media guys like, hey, we're going to sit on this one till the right time. But, Rodgers firing back, he got some good ones. I just think the thing is, because DeChambeau is so disliked, I think it plays really, really well. And he had the Aaron Rodgers like rolling his line like, man, I got to be paired with this joker here. So it was great. So I'm going to get a slight nod to Tom because the simple fact is I never saw this side of Tom. I thought it might be down there somewhere deep down inside, deep inside. But to see it actually play out and to see him to do something more than just be buttoned up and be straight-laced and be everything cliches, I love it.
Because it's not goofy, nerdy, lame, right? It's not corny, right? So I think Tom Brady's starting to win you over.
Yeah, I mean, he winning me over with the social media stuff, Skip, because like you said, him jumping in leaves, a yard full of leaves and stuff.
Great.
Okay, so this is just a guess on my part. And I don't want to discredit Tom at all, but I believe he has hired some full-time
social media team
whiz kid who's got creative genius about him, who's creatively clever, and it's 24/7 on social media that whoever's running this for him is looking for opportunities and presenting Tom, do you like this? Do you like this? And Tom's obviously signing off, and maybe he's the original source of some of this. Maybe he comes up with the
I don't know if Tom's spending that kind of time on social media.
I don't think so. But he's obviously signing off because to take the memes of the Koepka interview that gets interrupted by DeChambeau, the leaked interview from the Golf Channel, it's brilliant, man. And then to put your own captions in, it's funny. Because it's clever and yet it works. And it's all G-rated. He doesn't like go below the belt ever. No. And my favorite tweet from him was the very first one yesterday. He just summed it up as 2 champs versus a scientist and a Jeopardy host. Because that's what, if you know DeChambeau's game, he's a mad scientist. All the clubs are the same length. He's trying to do things no one's ever done. And the rest of golf is laughing at him because it worked once in the U.S. Open, but it hasn't worked much since then. So the point is, he is not liked. Brady knows he's not liked. And so I'm loving, like when Tiger played Phil in Las Vegas, it's okay, but after a while it just kind of wears on you because they're older golfers. Not that they don't have a major left in them, because Tiger in 2019 at the Masters and Phil this past weekend was spectacular. But if you suddenly pair them up with Brady and Peyton and you get them involved, then all of a sudden it takes off, and then you get Steph involved, and then now you're going to Aaron Rodgers. Well,
that's the thing. I think Phil has found a new source of income. Let me put me with one of these great quarterbacks or one of the players, and you find another golfer that you want to be paired with, and we'll go play around.
But I think even you're not the biggest golf fan, but I think you would watch some of this. I do watch. Because it's fun because you're watching the quarterbacks more than you're watching the professionals.
I just need somebody You know what they should do? Just have Charles Barkley. Let Charles commentate. He need to be somewhere on the court.
Well, the last time he was involved in the commentary.
And it was Phil and Charles. And people actually thought that Steph Curry and Peyton was going to be a professional golfer. And no matter how bad Charles is, Phil is still a professional, Skip.
But Charles was commentating when Brady holed out his 9-iron from like 130 yards.
He did. But this is great. I'm surprised it's not Peyton. Well, I don't know if Peyton would be with DeChambeau. I don't. What, JT? Or maybe a Dustin Johnson or somebody like that.
This works for me. The only thing better would be DeChambeau versus Koepka if we got those two.
Man.
I would have.
Somebody go take a club to the other one's head.
That is possible. They might.
I mean, because Skip, look, for the longest time, Phil and Tiger, and I still don't think they're the best of friends. I don't
either. I agree with that.
But it didn't get to the level of what it is now. The eye rolls and the size when the other guys in the building are close by, and you just know it that this joke will make me sick.
Hey, and Koepka's got a little football player in him. Like he'd want to throw down. Let's just do it right here.
So, yeah, I'm definitely going to watch. You're right. I'm not the biggest golf fan.
Now we get to your favorite quarterback, or one of. The guy up in Green Bay. I think he's going to be in Green Bay, but right now he's over.
No.
I think he's in Maui. I don't know what he's doing.
Having a great time.
Having a good time.
Okay, could we see that one more time? What is this thing that he created? This Star Wars?
Yeah.
With the memes? It's like a little crazy.
He's a good guy.
Yeah?
He's a good
Wait a
guy.
second. What is this? Aaron, I think it might be a little Maui Wowie. Is that possible? I don't know.
No way he made that.
No.
He also has a great social team.
I don't. What? Aaron? What? Really? Interesting.
So good.
Yeah.
Look at Tom. Tom got the evil look on his face. Yeah, they both got great teams that's putting these together. But it works. It works. You got two recognizable guys, arguably two of the three most recognizable guys in the NFL.
You do.
You got Phil Mickelson just coming off the PGA.
You do.
And you got Bryson DeChambeau that not a whole lot of people like.
Yeah, he's become the sort of the wrestling villain
Right, he the
of
heel.
golf.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So fascinating.
I like it. I'm all in.
Yeah. Who you taking?
I don't bet against Tom Brady. I told you.
Man, I'm betting against Phil Mickelson. Ain't no Tom Brady.
Yeah. Huh?
Well, it's not. The course. Hold on. Okay, this course is up in Montana,
I don't know anything about the course.
Exactly. So it all depends on how tough the course is going to be. If it's just wide open, where you can just tee off, where DeChambeau is going to be 400 yards, so he's going to be easy for Aaron. I'm going to take the other team.
You have to putt. Drive for show, putt for dough.
Well, Phil is the best putter.
He's had his moments. He's also struggled.
No. All putts.
Clutch putts?
How about this, Skip? All the putts must be made by the quarterback.
Okay, I'd watch that. I'll buy that.
All I know is I've never wanted to be in Hawaii more than I do now because Aaron Rodgers looks like he is having a good time of his life. He's playing guitar. He's hanging with his friends. I mean, life is
Packers
good.
on the run.
Life is good. Every time I see him, it's like the happiest I've ever seen Rodgers.
Happiest I've ever seen him.
Yeah.
Like something is different.
Denver's just like that. Outdoors.
He just
Denver's
stunk
just
up
like
an
Hawaii?
NFC Championship game, and he's happy.
I love the
Way to go,
subtle
Aaron.
Denver is just like Hawaii, Shannon.
Yeah.
Well done, well done.
No mercy.
Saturday on Fox, it's an NL East showdown on Baseball Night in America as the Braves battle the Mets or the Giants face the Dodgers or Brewers Nationals. That's Saturday, 7 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Check local listings to figure out the game in your area. Here's the latest, guys. Well, heading to the locker room after injuring his ankle last night, a fan dumped popcorn on Russell Westbrook, and he had to be held back by multiple members of security to not confront the fan. The fan was ejected shortly after, and just this morning, the 76ers released a statement saying, quote, "We have determined that the person involved will have his ticket membership revoked, effective immediately. In addition, he will be banned from all events at Wells Fargo Center indefinitely." Meanwhile, in New York last night, a video was tweeted out highlighting a fan also potentially spitting on Trae Young as he was inbounding the ball. Trae laughed it off in a tweet, calling it crazy, but coupled with the Westbrook incident, it certainly is raising a lot of eyebrows right now. 2010 NBA champ and X versus X sports founder Metta World Peace is now joining us. Metta, so great to have you. We appreciate you taking the time. What was your first thought when you saw this last night?
Yeah, thanks for having me. When I saw it, you know what? It made me shake because I remember, when I was in the Palace and when I ran into the stands, the gentleman I ran after, he put his hand up because he bet John Green $50 that John Green couldn't hit me, which I'm cool with John. Me and John speak like once a month. But, he bet him $50 and people always said I hit the wrong person. So, during that time, when you see somebody raise their hand, the game is not even happening. Ben Wallace is upset. I'm on the scorer's table. There's nothing else to be cheering about, right? And so when I saw that, I ran in the direction within a split second. And a lot of people thought I hit the wrong person, but I didn't. The guy made a bet. One guy hit me. And, I lost $6 million. My LA Gear deal was gone. Carl Jr. commercial, gone. TNT, everything was gone. But I was upset. I had an issue. Now with Westbrook was just coming off an injury. He was upset. He's passionate. You can't control that. Luckily, he had those security around him because Westbrook is a passionate player from California, right? So, and you look at his passion, you can't prepare for that. You can't prepare to say, okay, a guy hit me, I'm going to relax, I'm going to go in the locker room. As you can see, Russell needed to be held a little bit to understand, like, hey, you got a lot at stake. You don't want to run in a stance.
Boy.
So, Metta, how did you know that it was that you were going after the guy who made the bet? How did you sort of figure that out on the fly?
It was real simple to me because there was nothing to cheer about. During the game, if somebody hits a three, the fans go, yay, they put their hands up. If somebody gets a dunk, they go, yay, they put their hand up. I just got hit, and somebody went, yay. I'm thinking, oh, you happy? I just got hit. Boom, I was up there in 3 seconds, right? And I didn't throw a punch at that guy. I didn't start throwing punches until John punched me. You know, I'm cool with John now, but I ain't throw a punch until John started punching me. You know what I'm saying? But the other fan has yet to come forward, which I would like him to come forward. But the only reason I know the story is because me and John talk. John's like a sports fan. He crazy. You know what I'm saying? He drink beer and just crazy. And he told me the whole story, right? And apologized before. You know, I wish the Pistons organization would apologize. The Sixers organization apologized. Meanwhile, I lost everything, future contracts, every deal, you know. And, you know, I didn't get no apology, but it's okay. You know, I never trip. I ain't going to cry about it. You know, it's all right.
So do you wish there had been some security guards there to restrain you from going into the stands?
I mean, yeah, man, that's another defensive player of the year. Yep. You know, I'm competing with Ben Wallace to be one of the best in that era. Now I lost that battle.
Yeah, that's
another first team all defense. I just came off third team all NBA, so that's a first team or second team all NBA. Another all-star. You know, I was the only person to be in the all-star game before LeBron. And LeBron, the only all-star game LeBron was in was the one I was in. So that's something else with legacy. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot at stake, plus future contracts. No team wanted to touch me, which I get. And you know what? I take ownership. But you know, it made me shake a little bit when I seen that.
But we look at it, we talk about the Russell Westbrook, but I don't know if you've seen the Trae Young, but Trae Young is in Madison Square Garden. He's trying to inbound the ball, and you know someone in the second row is courtside, and then the section, the row right behind him. And it looks like someone spit in his direction. How do you control that? Now, it seems like Trae did not know this was happening until he saw the video on Twitter, and he kind of laughed it off. But can you imagine, Metta, being in that situation? And you're given that we're coming out of COVID, and someone does that. It's hard to control that rage in which you're going to have towards that person, knowing the disrespect that someone, if they spit on you, they basically think less than you than ground.
Well, you know, they got the angles. We had to go to court for the brawl, and we saw all the angles they didn't show on television, which is a little bit, you know, discouraging because I feel like they should show the angles. Even with the brawl, you see me running into the stand, but they never show when the guy threw the cup. And this is happening way too much. Like, show everything. And this is going to be an easy angle to catch, to be spit on. This is, you know, if Trae would have saw that was spit, he probably would have been in the stands. Like, now we're going to see what it is, and I'm from New York, you know, and I love the Knicks, being from New York. I want to, you know, I love the fans, but hey, you know, that's a little too much. Yeah. That's a little too much.
Yeah, there are limits. I understand passion, but you can take passion. Oh, and plus, like I said, you know, I read a story, but I don't know if it was here, the States or overseas, but an Uber driver got spit on by a lady. He ends up dying because he caught COVID. We're coming out of a pandemic, Skip, and we put on masks because we don't, and you and I have been, Jenny hadn't been over here in over a year. You and I make sure we try, when you talk, I try to lean back. When I talk, you try to lean back, so we don't do that. And we've both been vaccinated. And here I am playing. Ooh, I'm going out there, and somebody just spit on me, Metta. Man, I ain't gonna even lie, Metta. I can't, I'm not gonna be able to control that. I'd have been like you. I'd have been up in the sand.
And you know, Trae's a real nice guy, right?
He is.
He has a killer instinct in him. And I mean, when you got that killer instinct, you know, you can't turn it off. Like, even you guys are turned on when you're working. You guys bring it every day. You know, you bringing that passion to your job. You can't just turn that off.
No.
So, you know, one of your coworkers throw a cup of water on top of your head. You know, you turned on. You know, interrupting Skip while he's talking. Imagine a coworker interrupting Skip and throwing coffee in his face.
Yeah, I mean, there's limits to this.
So, Metta, in the neighborhood you grew up in, if you were walking down the street and some stranger came up and threw a cup of Coke on you or whatever it would be, some soft drink on you, how would you have responded? Because I know you a little bit. You're also mild-mannered, but you have some killer instinct in you.
Well, luckily, I went through the brawl incident. But, prior to the brawl incident, like when I got drafted, I went right back to the hood. Like literally, I had my whole hood at the draft. We're taught like different, right? And that's just not acceptable. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I've seen people die for less.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you got these kids that's coming from these environments that's, populating these professional sports leagues. It's hard to turn it off. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And, it's hard to just turn it off. You're trying to provide for your family. You're trying to do as best as you can while trying to leave the baggage in the back or, in the past, and people don't really understand how difficult that is for certain athletes, So, I just, with the fans, man, I really hope that if they get banned, that's cool, whatever the case may be. But I hope that they think about this, and they also need to show the face publicly. You can't just be banned and not show face publicly. Come on the shows. Why did you do that? You gotta face that. You just can't go off in a sunset and people just forget about you.
Metta, you know this. No matter what hood, no matter how hard, how soft, everything is based on respect. You show respect. You give respect. You'll get respect. But if you become disrespectful, no matter what, and I've never been to prison, but I have a lot of homeboys that have. And the one thing they'll tell you, they don't care how big, they don't care how small. You better respect everybody in there or they will eat you up. You go to any hood, Brooklyn, Brownsville, Brooklyn, Jamaica, Queens, the Bluff in Atlanta, Detroit, wherever. If you do not give respect, they'll come for you. If you don't show a person respect at the game when he's doing his craft, hey, what you expect him to do? You just gonna openly, blatantly disrespect the man. Why? Because you paid $1,000, $2,000, $500 for a ticket and they think give you the right to be disrespectful? Nah, that's not how it works.
I mean, I think the talking is okay. Like at Detroit, we was in those playoffs in Detroit.
Yeah.
And those fans, they write up on you and saying everything in the book. And I was okay with that. But you can't, when you start throwing stuff
yes.
and spitting, like that's the issue. The talking is the issue, but you know what? We understand. People passionate. Fans are passionate. But when you start throwing stuff, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? This is ridiculous. You cannot do that.
So Metta, is there a fix here? Would it help to add more security above the tunnel to keep people from throwing things on players as they leave?
I think, I don't think that's necessary because there's always going to be a bad apple out of the batch. I just think they need to get those camera angles out and they need to show people that when you do this, you will be banned and also other, repercussions, maybe federal, state, local law enforcement. Maybe you go to jail for 2 days or something. You can't throw stuff at entertainers. Entertainers are there to entertain. We got sports back. America, we need sports, right? We need our musicians, right? All right, let's make them feel safe. Let's make them feel happy to be here, to be working for us.
So, Metta, when I first saw the Russell Westbrook popcorn incident, I told Shannon there was a part of me that wanted Russ to break free and go get that guy. And yet, the more I hear you talk and the more I see how much you lost lost a big part of your career. And it's not worth it in the end. You wish in a perfect world it would be worth it, that the punishment should fit the crime,
right.
that you should be able to seek retribution
right.
yourself. But look what happened to this man. He lost a lot of money and a lot of career.
It's never worth it.
No.
It's never worth it. It's not worth it. Not only, even if I didn't lose money, whatever the case may be, it's not worth it to come out, your zone as a professional athlete, but it's hard, but it's definitely not worth it. It's so not worth it.
No mercy.
The Lakers will try and take the series lead against the Suns tonight in Game 3. It will be the first playoff home game for the Lakers since 2013, and LeBron said it's, quote, going to be pretty special for our fans. That's what I came here to be able to play a playoff game in front of the Lakers faithful. So, Shannon, one thing, are you going tonight? And do you give the Suns a chance as well?
No, I don't go tonight, but I do give them a chance. I think the thing is, Skip, when we've seen this with the Lakers, where they don't take teams serious. Remember they had that big lead against Toronto, and then all of a sudden Toronto comes back and beats them. They had a big lead against Golden State the first time they played them. They was up 14-19. Golden State comes back and beat them. So the thing is, let's not just rely on the crowd. I understand that you're going to be there. What, they're going to have 6,000, 7,000 fans. Fans are going to be electric. I get all of that. But just don't rely solely on the crowd to get you going. Come out there with a sense of urgency. Let the Suns know that you're in for a long night. As a matter of fact, this thing gonna be over fairly shortly because you're gonna give us our best. You're gonna get our best effort. We don't want you to have, man, if we just get this thing to the fourth quarter, we can make a push, go on a run, and win this ball game. So, can they win? Yes, but I expect Anthony Davis to be just as aggressive. I expect LeBron James, since this is what he said, I came to be in a championship game to play in front of in Staples. Well, this is what he got. This is what he wanted. This is what he gets. And so now the fans are going to be there. I'm expecting to see a little bit more. Now, I ain't going to get, we start to see, Skip, those spurts, those plays, those splash plays that we see, that we could see for a whole game before the ankle injury. We're starting to see them things happen with greater regularity. They're coming with greater regularity. So it's over.
It is over. Shannon Sharpe. The Phoenix Suns have CP 0 chance of winning tonight at Staples without a Chris Paul near 100%, and I think he's like 4%. You have even suggested that he sit this one out in hopes of being better by Sunday.
Yes.
I co-sign because this is hopeless. The odds makers are telling you hopeless because game number 1 at Phoenix, the Suns were 2.5-point favorites. Tonight at L.A., the Lakers are 7-point favorites. It's all about Chris Paul III. They're saying he's just not going, if he is available, he won't really be available. So I see another cakewalk. I see a tour de force. I see what I would call a resting triple-double for LeBron because I don't think it'll take much out of him to have a triple-double tonight. He is simply the greatest front runner in the history of sports, and I mean that as a compliment. If he smells blood, he will front run you right into the floor, and he will smell blood tonight. He knows, and you know, that the best thing to do in round 1 of the playoffs is just get it over with.
Yes.
And then get your ankle a little better and a little better and a little better. Give yourself some time to regenerate for the second round because for them, especially with Chris Paul hobbled, or basically a liability now, it's going to be over before you know it, but the playoffs don't start until round 2 for your Lakers.
Well, yeah, Skip, I agree. Payne played really well, but do you believe he can play like that for 3-4 more games?
No.
I don't either. They still have Book, and we know Book can fill it up.
Okay.
The thing is, you got to neutralize him. Skip, I'm going to make...
We'll time out on Book. Here's my problem with Devin Booker. Is he a star? You better believe he is. What did he shoot from 3 the other day?
He didn't shoot good.
He's 0 for 3.
Yeah.
What did he shoot for the year from 3? He shot 34%. He's just not a three-point shooter. He's a deadly mid-range.
Yes.
But if you take him 2 steps back behind that line, he ranked 136th of 150 qualified three-point.
He ain't good to go from the 3.
Huh? It's true. LeBron is a better three-point shooter than Devin Booker.
Yeah.
So the Suns don't even have an X factor tonight. If he were a deadly 42% or Steph-like three-point shooter, then you'd say, because in the playing game, Steph was the X factor. What if he shoots you out of your own gym?
Skip, well, Devin Booker had 10 points in the 4th, but most of them came from the free throw line in the last 2 minutes.
Well, what was he, 17 of 17?
He's 17
from the free throw line, and he got 2 3-point, 3-shot fouls, right? So he got 6 straight free throws that made it respectable.
Right.
Okay? He can make free throws. He just can't make threes.
But the Lakers supporting cast, we need Schroeder to play like he continue to play well.
He will.
The old drum dog million. Skip, you don't know what they call him? They call him Drum Dog Millionaire.
I've not heard that.
Yeah, old Big Drum.
Really?
Yeah, you're going to apologize, too.
I just call him the Big Penguin. That's all I know. Kareem Abdul-Drummond.
He was giving it to him 15 and 12,
really?
double-double. Wow. Get DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble because he got no
DeAndre Ayton said before Game 2 that he wants to be certified as the best two-way young big man in the game. And I'm like, where did that come from?
So where the hell is Joel Embiid going?
I don't know. I don't know. And I appreciate the talk because he was coming off one big game.
And he played good again. But Skip, the thing, I mean, he's getting a lot of putbacks, and he's a big man. He's a load down there. And I think, Skip, and I think that's part of the reason why Trez isn't playing. He can't guard. They need a big body. They need somebody with the body and the strength like a drum, but somebody with the height and the size of a Gasol to battle him. Trez is just too small.
Montrezl Harrell played 0 minutes in Game 2.
It might be another situation unless the game gets out of hand. He plays another one. But Skip, the Lakers are about winning championship. Now the next series, he might play more. Remember how little JaVale and Dwight played against the Rockets, where they were big, played big against Portland, played a lot of minutes against Yoke. Yeah, in the second round. So you never know. You never know. But when your time's called, just be ready.
I know this. It's 1-1 and it's over.
Oh, my goodness.
You got a break.
Luck. You're bad luck.
Well, I'm not bad luck.
You are bad luck.
I'm spitting facts.
No, I don't want you to spit any more facts. I don't want you to say anything else because I know what you're trying to do.
That's a bad word today.
I know what you're trying to do. You tried to jinx us. That's what you're trying to do.
Yes, you are. Just telling you what's happening. I'm congratulating you on your victory.
I don't hear nothing you say right now. I don't hear nothing you say right now.
I don't even know if I'll watch the game tonight.
You are. I bet you are. Because you never know when GOAT might do something you've never seen again.
He might.
You might not ever see it.
He might go for 47 like Ja did last night at Utah.
I don't know if we're going to need that. We're saving that for a special occasion.
Really?
Are you?
But we got it in us.
Okay.
No mercy. Sunday, the best NASCAR season ever continues as the Cup Series returns to Charlotte, North Carolina for the Coca-Cola 600 at 6 Eastern only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Well, as the Clippers fell apart in the Orlando bubble last year, Montrezl Harrell was one of the individuals that was reportedly the issue within the locker room. The Lakers forward hasn't forgotten, and after the Clippers went down 0-2 to the Mavs, he liked a tweet that said, quote, "They really said Montrezl Harrell was the issue on the Clippers." Oh, yeah, he liked it. He knew what he was doing. Shannon, which Laker is enjoying the Clippers' demise the most?
Well, clearly Trez, because he got blamed for... And Doc probably enjoyed a little bit of it too, Skip.
Okay,
Because the thing was, Skip, is that you never heard a mention of Trez being a problem in the locker room. He was winning Sixth Man of the Year. They was winning all these ball games. They beat Dallas. There was no mention of Trez. They up 3-1 against the Nuggets. There's no mention of Trez. It wasn't until they lost, all of a sudden, he was a problem in the locker room.
And he was a problem defensively against the Nuggets.
Right.
Yes.
But do you see Jokic going to win the MVP? So being a defensive liability against Jokic is not a knock on you. It's not a slap in the face because he's about to win. He's about to win MVP. So there's a lot of guys that can't guard Nikola Jokic. Doc Rivers, when he had him up 3-1, it wasn't nothing about nobody. We need guys with better IQs. It wasn't about what I'm doing. Oh, what Doc got me doing all this and that. But the moment they lose, nobody mentioned anything about, I was in a dark place. I wanted to sleep in my own bed. I missed my family. Nobody mentioned anything until they lost, 3 straight ball games. And lo and behold, Doc Rivers couldn't draw plays. We need guys with better IQs. Trez Harrell, Lou Williams. It was all of a problem then. So clearly, Trez is like, you see, I'm not the problem. Because I'm not there and you still can get stops in the clutch. I'm not there, and you still doing the same thing. Doc Rivers is like, okay, you want a guy with basketball IQ. He said, T. Lue run basically, who gave T. Lue his first job? Where you think T. Lue cut his teeth up under? What you think you going to be running? So, I agree with Trez.
Okay, you got me on this. I now publicly concede it is over for the L.A. Clippers, or if you want to call them the Tankers, you can call them the Tankers.
Flippers.
Huh?
Flippers. The
Flippers, okay? Call them the Flippers. There is no way they're going to win 4 out of the next 5 games against Luka and company. Well, you know it, and I know it.
That was not the question. Okay? Who is clearly enjoying this?
Because it's over. There's one man on the Lakers who is in all of his glory right now, his revenge glory, and that is your man, LeBron James, the quote-unquote king, the quote-unquote GOAT, the quote-unquote best player on the planet. If you don't mind me asking,
why would LeBron be happy that they're losing?
Because of what Kawhi Leonard did to him. I take you back to July 5th of 2019. You remember when the earth literally shook here in L.A. that night? Do you remember?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And what had just happened? We had reporter after reporter, Chris Haynes. We had a parade of reporters, obviously Chris Broussard, say that all the word from LeBron and his camp was that they had been told Kawhi was going to sign with the Lakers. We treated it for 3 straight days as a done deal.
Right.
And it looked like it was going to be LeBron and AD and Kawhi. And right now, as we speak, they would be headed on collision course for those 3 in Brooklyn, right? And it would be epic.
Yes.
And at the last second, in a shock to me, when I opened up, I think I looked at ESPN.com first, and I saw Kawhi in a Clippers uniform. And it was like, what? Did they get this backward? Did they get it wrong?
I thought it was a meme. I thought somebody...
I just thought it was wrong. He jerked the rug right out from under LeBron, and he bamboozled the whole league. Nobody saw it coming for him and PG to go to the Clippers.
You know why LeBron is unconcerned? Because that's how LeBron just stays 1 foot in front of the other.
Okay.
I don't look for you, Clippers.
But then
you
what
worry
happened?
about us.
But right away on opening night, Kawhi calls out LeBron in a New Balance commercial. You hate New Balance, but there he was.
How's that worked out for him, Skip?
What happened? You remember the dangling keychain? Can you maybe see that? Oh, there it is.
Have we been airing that? Oh.
What a message sent to LeBron that was, I am the new king of Los Angeles. It is now Kawhi town.
How's that worked out for him in the Clippers?
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. You don't think this guy is delighting in it even more than Montrez? The Clippers just dumped Montrez. They just didn't want him, and he didn't play a single minute for the Lakers the other night. He's not in a power position to be gloating.
Skip, nothing Kawhi can do can ever match what LeBron has done.
Okay, well, but he called him out. He said, I'm coming for you.
I believe there's only one guy, maybe there are 2 guys that LeBron sees as an equal. That's Kevin Durant and Steph Curry.
Okay.
Not Kawhi.
I think it's just one. I think it's KD.
No,
period, end of story. He wants Steph to come play with him.
He might.
Yep.
We got a couple of million.
Yeah, you got
but I think, but see, the thing was, we couldn't do what the other team could do. We couldn't give you no penthouse and promise you all this stuff because Jeannie Buss says that's illegal. So did the Toronto Raptors said that's illegal. But when you get worth $80 billion, you'd be willing and pay a fine.
Okay. Kawhi got everything he wanted except the payoff. Right? Okay. Yeah. Money can't buy happiness, right? Okay.
No.
He got it all.
Hey, now look. Come on, Luka.
Yep.
I know what you're trying to do, trying to bring.
Kawhi can bolt after this year, and he might just say...
and go where?
I don't know.
And go where?
No, he can't
leave.
Anywhere.
He can't leave.
Why not?
Because it'll make him look like the all-time chump.
Okay.
Make him look wicked and well.
Like that as we speak.
I think if he doesn't...
Hold on. Hold on. You wanted Paul. You got everything you wanted. You wanted Paul George. You mortgaged the future.
You're preaching to my unfortunate choir.
And now you want to leave because why?
Yep.
You can't talk on the
It didn't work.
Why it didn't work?
No mercy. Ja Morant had an up-and-down game last night, scoring a Grizzlies playoff record 47 points in the loss, but was also stuffed at the rim on one dunk attempt by Rudy Gobert. You guys want to see that one again? And Shannon, how impressed were you that Ja even tried this?
I was very impressed. He woke up yesterday and chose violence because he's tried to ruin a lot of guys' life. He tried one on Kevin Love. Skip, this might have been the greatest in-game dunk, given who Rudy Gobert is and his place, but he has a chance to be one of the all-time great defenders. And Ja Morant, 6'3" tall. If he'd have hit that dunk, it would have been better than the dunk Vince Carter did in the Olympics over Frederick Weiss.
Agreed.
Because Rudy Gobert, we know he probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year for the third time. And if Ja Morant, he cocked it. It wasn't no sneak attack. He pulled it back.
He did. It was the greatest failed dunk I've ever seen. I give him high marks because this kid has a backbone.
Yeah.
Ja believes fearlessly in Ja Morant. And he said, meet me in midair, Stifle Tower. I got something for you right here.
The top floor.
You're 1 foot taller than I am, and I do not care. I do not fear. And he threw it in as hard as he could, and it was impossible. Yeah. And he moved the meter a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I give him credit. He attempted it, Skip. But this kid was unbelievable last night. 47. Now he has the second most points in his first 2 playoff games, 2 behind George Mikan. But, Skip, Utah's going to be – you let them make 19 threes, Skip. You're not beating Utah.
No.
They got back to what they did. But I'm going to give the Grizzlies credit. They got down by 20, and they cut it to 2.
They did. Because those 2 kids will just keep on keeping
Dylan
on.
Brooks just got to stay out of foul trouble, Skip.
What could have been? Honestly, you're right. Good for him on trying it. Now he's just going to want it more, right, guys?
Yep.
That is it for Undisputed. We are back same time tomorrow. Plenty to discuss tomorrow. Skip, we are done. The show's over. The Herd's on now. Have a good one.